joining us this evening, and an especially big welcome to our co-hosts who will be leading this service, our 5780 confirmation class. That's 2019 and 2020, for those of you who are doing the conversion in your head. I know that's all of you. You don't even have to think about it. You just instinctively know the Hebrew year, right? We are so proud of all of you, Diego and Carlos and Jake and Ilanit and Elian. I know that I'm missing somebody. That's just who I can see on my screen. Who did I forget? Well, that's everybody who's on the call right now. We're hoping Jamie and Jeremy can also join us. We are equally proud of them for all of their accomplishments over the course of their Hebrew school learning, their religious school learning, and completion of their confirmation course. Of course, we are also very pleased to welcome their teacher, Deborah, who is also joining us on this call, and she'll have some kind words for them during the service as well. This service, as you can imagine, will be a little bit different. We are going to have some different leaders during the service. So I hope that you will please follow along. If you're at home, please sing along as well and join them in the service that they are leading. And I think without further ado, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to our evening service leaders. So, Elian, you're the first one up with our opening song of Hine Matov.
Yes. So, I will be starting off, as a lot of people know, when we used to start off Temple or the service with a small tune, and there was la 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 la.
Yeah, la 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 la. I'm muted, right?
You're muted.
Yeah, la 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 la. We need like a hand signal. We could do, no, that's not good because that's good and bad.
Video is
Open and la 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 la. And you're seeing Elian on the stream. Okay. Shabbat Evening, Gam Yachad, Hine Matov Manali. Shabbat Evening, Gam Yachad.
Facebook looks good.
I'll go ahead and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to live.
We each make our home a sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these words, and by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them with the true selves. Now we, in our turn, sanctify our own sanctuaries to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this space in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we enter our prayer together. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the first breath of prayer. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in song. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of of kindle light, so may we in our day be among those who kindle light.
Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign over universe, who has allowed us with his book, commanding us to handle the light of Shabbat.
Where has a week vanished is a live. Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, and realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide.
Shalom, Shalom, Amen. Amen. Can you unmute me real quick? We rise now for the Baruch. It is the custom of some to turn and face east toward Jerusalem, towards our ancestral connection to our homeland and to God. Although God's presence is everywhere, so if you're not facing east, you can still continue to pray with the Baruch. The Talmud instructs us to rise in our hearts and direct our hearts to God. If you are unable to physically rise, then you may rise in your heart alone. And if you are able to physically rise, then we rise physically at this time for the Baruch.
This is an draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over. This hour of change and opinion, we stand quietly on the border of life. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Bago ang nai Amora Army. You keep loving us as you always have loved us. As an iron God, you are important to us. Torah, mitzvot, to all known reality. Therefore, as an iron God, that when we are to rest for the light tonight, when we are rise for the day, we will make your pride principle our foundation. Thou will give us steady joy as we talk Torah and plan to live as well. This is what we live for. This is what keeps us going day and night. We will ponder the meaning just to keep on only loving.
That's still you. Go ahead and unmute me. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. We continue now with the words of Shema.
אשר נקים בצלך, כיום לבביך, ושינתם לעניך, וגבעת חומה, לשבתך ולביתך, ובלתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובפניך, ובשתך לראות על ידיך, והיו לטפות לימינך, וברכך על מזוזות ביתך, ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם לכל מצוותיי. הקדושים לאלוהיכם, הפנימי אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתיכם לארץ מצרים, להיות לכם. אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Amen.
Listen up, children. The struggle with God. Ours is a God who unites us in fellowship during times of both joy and difficulty. You shall love this God of yours in the long hours of anxiety, boredom, of uncertainty, and of fear. You shall love this God of yours with every breath. Breathe, breathe, but remember to breathe. And if you have something to give, give. When you are in need, ask. Be in compassionate companionship in the time of isolation or financial support when working has become unsafe. Let words of comfort from our tradition fill your home. Let parents be filled with patience and let children be filled with compassion. Let the sanctity of your home make your home into a sanctuary. For those who go out to serve on the front lines of health or sustenance, as you find a face mask or scarf upon your nose and mouth, let the work of your hands be strength and let determination be your mindset. Let all sacrifices you must make elevate your sanctuary, and every doorpost of your home be a gate of prayer. Thus you shall all remember that the rules and restrictions you face are holy for you, protecting the lives of all those created in the image of your God. Your recognition of God's image in your neighbor shall be your redemption, leading all of us out of the narrow place to serve the one as one.
שירת חדשה, שיחו בעולים, לשמחה שפת האם, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו, ואמרו, אדוני לא לעולם הבא, אדוני לא לעולם הבא. Dios mona mi khamocha. Khamocha ba'edimado. Khamocha ne'avakodet. Arat tekilu kosetet. Arat tekilu kosetet.
Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu v'shalom, v'hamidenu shomeinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu v'shalom, v'hamidenu shomeinu l'chaim. V'shamru b'nei Israel, Shabbat, Dasod et Shabbat, Lidor Kaderitola. Beni Beni Israel, Oti Leola, Oti Leola, Oti Leola. V'shamru b'nei Israel, Shabbat, Dasod et Shabbat. At this time, I ask once again the congregation to rise in your home and in your heart for the Amidah. Unmute me for a second.
Adonai sakakakita upia itehilateka. Adonai sakakakita upia itehilateka. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu 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 Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Haggadol, Hagibor, Hanora, En Yaakov, Hasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Ezocher Ateavot, Ve'imaot, Ve'Yehuda, Yimei Ve'Nikael, Leman Shemo Ve'Avraham, Le'Necho Zerah Mashiach. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol HaTorah, Le'Hoshia. Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayech Hakol B'Rachamim. Zomenech Noflim Ve'Nofech Cholim, U'Matir Hasulim, U'Mekayem Be'emunato. Yishayne Yaakov, Mikamo Kafar Gevurot, Umino Lena, Lelefrimi, Tumechaye, Umatzia Yeshua, Beneman Atalchayot Hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye Hakol. Akad Kadosh, Yeshiva Kadosh, Kadosh Mechalim. Allah Lillah. Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Grant us this your most precious gift, eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth.
I think this is supposed to be Carlos.
We will continue with silent meditation.
A reading from Carlos.
Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bond of friendships and fellowships among the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace.
Go ahead, unmute me. Baruch atah Adonai hamivarech et amo Yisrael v'shalom. We continue now in silent prayer and meditation. Diego will now lead us in Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Biruma, Ulyat Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'achol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom.
I've got the Misha Beirut next. I'm leading the Misha Beirut after this.
I'll unmute as soon as he's done.
Amen.
We now take a moment to say a prayer of healing for all of those in our community and our world who are in need of healing. In particular, at this time, I know that we are praying for Tal Hazon, Jacob Hazon, Joanna Batsara, James Dutremaine, Megan Yasso, Yolanda Easley, Caleb Ben Yaakov Mecha, Oscar Garcia, Yosef Ben Matilde, Berta Rivas, Robert Berlin. If there are any other names that you are praying for at this time in their time of healing, you may share them with us now by posting them in the chat on Zoom, by saying them aloud in your home, by posting them in Facebook or YouTube, or saying their names in your heart. We know that God hears all prayers, whether they are said aloud, written out, or spoken only in our hearts. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. May the source of healing in the universe bring healing to all those who are in need at this time. May the God of health, may the God who created our human bodies bring wisdom to the hands of healers and strength to all of those who are caring for loved ones in their time of healing. And most of all, may God bring health and peace to all of them as we say Amen. Now, a few words from some of our confirmation class students. If you joined the service a little bit later and you were not aware that this service is being led by our incredible confirmation class, tremendous thanks to them for leading us in the service this evening and for providing these words of wisdom.
למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך. Justice, justice shall you pursue, that you may thrive and occupy the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The fact that the word justice is repeated emphasizes its importance, and the fact that we must pursue justice constantly. Time and time, if you will. We should strive to pursue justice in all aspects of life. This Torah portion, Shabbat, replaced the system of vengeance used by ancient people to a system based on judges and laws. Specifically, it establishes the way society was meant to be run. A few examples include impartiality during judicial stuff, the need for witnesses, how rulers are meant to act, and many other things. This portion establishes how society is meant to run based on judges and laws. When society in a state of turmoil and strife, the first thing that we lose is handguns. Throughout this year, my classmates and I have discussed the way we look at the world, specifically through a Jewish lens. And I hand it over to Elena.
The Torah portion also describes how Israel appointed many judges for every different city in Israel. While I was reading the description of the Torah portion, it reminded me of our confirmation trip. In our trip, we discussed the leadership roles that we have as Jewish teams in our community, and we had the opportunity to speak about certain issues to Senator Cruz Hornet, and Representative Gonzalez aides. I thought it was interesting how our Torah portion, Shabbat talks about the judges for every city in Israel, and how in the United States we have senators and representatives for every state. When I was in the room with my fellow classmates and the staff of the senators and representatives, I felt so much honored to be able to speak about my opinions of reproductive rights as a Jewish teen. The confirmation trip was an amazing experience for my classmates and me, because we realized that we do have a voice in our country and that we can make a difference as Jewish teens in our community.
Go ahead and unmute me. That sounds like an incredible trip and an incredible year of study aside from the trip. What incredible scholars, what passionate leaders we have in our midst this evening. I am often awed by the leadership, intelligence, discernment, and passion of teenagers. This particular group is exceptional in that exceptionality. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us. Thank you for sharing your prayers with us. I would like to share a prayer with you. And afterwards, I know that Deborah and Jessica would like to make their presentations as well. But first, I will say, when the Israelites gathered at the foot of Mount Sinai to receive the Torah, they rejoiced, exclaiming, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will listen. So it was with great anticipation that they pledged themselves to follow God even before knowing what was being asked of them. And since that moment, Jews of every age have been saying, Na'aseh, we will do, and then nishama, we will hear and understand. Our affinity to our Israelite ancestors inspires us to continue and embrace our heritage in every generation, carrying words of Torah on our lips and in our hearts. Through learning, we are taught the language of our people. Through Hebrew, we are inspired to observe Jewish customs and to ponder Jewish ideas even before our minds are ripe enough to understand them. But for this heritage to take deep root in our hearts, we must continue to strive and hear the commands of our religion, to learn to appreciate its beautiful teachings. Whatever the circumstances that lead us to this sacred space, we all must pledge to become Jews by choice. We look to you now, our confirmands, to take your place as guardians of this sacred heritage, to carry forth God's light and truth into the world. Thus you can help our people answer the call of the prophets who said that we must be a light unto the nations, and to inspire your peers, your family, and everyone you meet to engage in the task of tikkun olam, working in partnership with God for improving, perfecting, and repairing this world we live in. And together we say, Amen. I share the priestly blessing from Numbers chapter 6 with each of you on this evening after you have worked so hard to reach this point, and you are certainly so worthy of God's blessing. I say, Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha, may God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'choneka. May God's light shine upon each of you, and may God be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God be with each of you be present in every moment of your lives. May God's presence be a guiding force as you continue your Jewish education, as you continue your self-directed journey in the pathways of Judaism. May God always lift a kindly face up to you, and most of all, regardless of where your journey should take you, may God watch over you and grant you a life of peace. Amen.
It was my honor and privilege this year to teach this amazing confirmation class. I kept telling them, and I think it's true, that I learned from this group, I am sure, more than they learned from me. They are absolutely amazing. I am so proud of each and every one of you. It is emblematic of how the year has been and how you have triumphed over everything that has come your way from, I guess the best example is heading off on a confirmation trip just as a pandemic is starting, and you all just did it with such passion and interest. You give me personally so much hope for the future. Thank you all so much. I also want to thank your parents for trusting us with you and allowing the class to go forward in the way it did. It was truly my privilege. I want to thank the rabbi for stepping in and helping us convert the service that you all had originally planned on the assumption that we would be as normal in the sanctuary with everybody there. And you all have persevered so much in being able to do that and handle everything that has come your way. The Jewish future here is strong based on what you're doing. With that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, who will talk more about some of the gifts that we've got coming your way.
Well, I was really excited when Deborah and the rabbi asked me to speak. And then all of a sudden I ran into the problem that I always have, is that I get really excited and then I think, what am I going to tell them? And so when I thought about that, what came to mind when I was trying to think of what I wanted to share was, I read an article once that said, to question is to be Jewish. And it really made me think of this group. And I love that idea, because I hope that participating not only in confirmation, but in religious school, that you've learned that Judaism really encourages you to actively search out answers and to question. And then I hope that you also come to realize that with that search for answers comes a responsibility. And you shared that with the trip, with some of the things that you took away, the presentations that you made. I'm really excited to hear about your classes. I know I was there on Sundays and I would stop by, try not to eavesdrop, but you had engaging dialogue. And that's really what we hope for you, that you had a safe, positive environment to talk about your beliefs, challenges you are facing, whether it's about religion, politics, or just life itself. And I want to at least remind you, because this is definitely not the end of your Jewish education, that we're a community here where we embrace differences. And we want to be able to bring those conversations to the temple. We want you to lead those conversations. Sorry, Tom. Sorry about that. I want to congratulate each of you and know that we are looking forward to everything that you bring to the temple. We're also looking forward to you having, as I was mentioning before the job interrupted, some of those conversations at the temple, because we can have different opinions, but we're a community, and you will bring a lot of those conversations to light. And I'm just really feel honored to be able to congratulate you. And in these times of uncertainty, it brings me a lot of joy to see you on the screen, even if it's Zoom, and get a chance to say Mazel Tov.
It is hard to do things like make a real presentation over Zoom. So your physical confirmation certificate, the Latakin seminar certificate, a gift from Sisterhood, and other things will be waiting for you in the temple office in about a week's time. We are giving a little bit of time for everything to be collected and sorted. I wish we could be handing them to you in person, hugging and kissing you all and embarrassing you more than is possible over Zoom, but that will come. It'll just take a little while. So thank you all.
Go ahead and unmute. Along those lines, if you have, it is our custom to present confirmands with gifts, not just from the congregation, but also individual members of the congregation often bring personalized gifts to all of the confirmands. If you would like to bring gifts, please bring them to the temple before next Friday so that families can come in and pick them up. You can drop them off at the temple office during regular office hours. You may also send an electronic greeting card to our confirmands, congratulating them on their accomplishments. Or if you would like to contribute to a gift card fund, you can send money directly to their teacher, Deborah, who will take all of the funds together and divide it equally among the students. No favorites here. Again, tremendous congratulations from me, from your teachers, from not just your teachers this year, but all of your teachers going back to the very beginning of your Jewish education, and from all of the many people who are joining us. I'm told, Brad, how many people do we have joining us this evening?
On Zoom, currently 37, on Facebook and YouTube, 15, 20, somewhere in that range.
We've got about 60 people join, or more than 60 or 65 people joining us for this service this evening. Of course, many of those numbers are multiple people, so the real number could be much higher than that this evening, who are here giving their congratulations to Carlos, Diego, Elian, Ilanit, Jake, Jamie, and Jeremy. We know most of you could be here, but not all of you were able to be here, and you still receive our tremendous congratulations. Our regular announcements, Torah study is tomorrow morning at 9:30, followed by services at 10:30. You can join us after this service, after every service on Zoom for a Oneg social. We haven't figured out how to send the food over the internet yet, but we're working on it. We've got our best scientists on it. Until then, we can still join together for Oneg after the service to at least enjoy a little bit of company and socializing. Our service concludes now with Aleinu and our next service leader, Diego.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שאורת השמיים ויות הארץ ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו ולא ירומי הוא אלוהינו אמת חכנו את תפילתו
There are stars up above so far away that we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways to remember. At this time we remember all of those who, though they are no longer with us in this world, are always present in our hearts. We are in a period of Shiva for Norma Rabinovich, Shendel Bat Avram Vefegi, as well as a period of Shloshim for Eugenio Colon and Rabbi Evan Ezer Steinsaltz. We are in a period of Sha'ah, the first year of mourning for Rhoda Zahn, Carlos Glixman, Beatrice Goldman, Arna Asensio, Roy Dale, Adalia Asensio, Antonio Diaz, Leon Wernick, Myrna Levine, Charlene Hertz, Sergei Bernier, and we are observing the yahrzeits this week of Harriet Simont, Jeffrey Morrow, Lillian Gershman Levine. In their memory and in memory of all those who are present in our hearts, though they are no longer present in this world, whose light shines on beyond their death, we say these words, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ul'almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kodesha b'reichu. Le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'roma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world, to which we say, Amen. Our closing song is Adon Olam, which will be led this evening by Jake.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who finding favor with us, sanctified with us mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the Holy Shabbat our heritage as reminder of us the work of correction. As for in love and favor, you have given us your Holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sacrificed Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'tzivah v'tzivanu. V'shabbat k'dsho b'ahava kitzru kizaron ha'mashkiv be'er. Ki hu yom tehillah l'nikra kodesh zecher b'tziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu b'charta tovah tidat mikol ha'amim. V'shabbat k'dsho b'ahava u'ratzonim kulanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom from the confirmation class of 2020.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Another big congratulations to all of our confirmands. Thank you so much for leading us in prayer. It was a real delight for me to be a participant in the service for the first time in a long time. So thank you for giving me that gift, as well as all of the wonderful gifts you give us each and every day. We will continue on Zoom with our Oneg Shabbat. I'll be joining back with you in just a moment from my office. I hope that you stick around.